Battery fully charged. Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to WWE Aftershock Extra, where I'm going to cover NXT No Mercy and this past week's NXT. I'm just going to get right into it. I'm flying solo because Chris and I tried to do this, but he was just much too busy this week. So that's why you're seeing this on Saturday versus the day it was supposed to go out. But we'll just get right into this. We had the pre-show, obviously starting off with No Mercy. We had the pre-show. We had the panel of Matt Camp, Megan Morant, and I think it was Sam Roberts. I actually don't even remember. But I'm pretty sure it was Sam Roberts. And yeah, they were at WWE headquarters. They did relatively good on the panel. And since we did have a match on the pre-show, we had the commentary team for both the pre-show and the main show. It was Booker T and Vic Joseph. You can imagine how that went. We had a few things happen on the interviews and stuff on the pre-show. Dragon Lee did an interview where he talked about how he was going to call the match down the middle between Trick Williams and Dominic Mysterio. And then the Metaphor did an interview later on where they talked about how Noam Dar talked about how he's going to retain the cup because he's the best, and he's the one that knows how to work this style of match better than Pete Dunne. And he talks about how he's fresh as a daisy since he hasn't been wrestling. And then Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo were backstage. They talked about how they're going to win the tag team titles for their family tonight. And then Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams got interviewed. And they talk about how tonight they're going to both walk out with gold and take over NXT like they talked about they were going to. And we had a only match on the pre-show. It was Blair Davenport versus Kalani Jordan. Good match here. Pretty back and forth. Blair Davenport dominated a good portion of it, but Kalani Jordan got in some hold spots and things like that. But eventually Blair Davenport wins with a Falcon Arrow power driver type move, and she wins. I thought Kalani Jordan looked good, but she didn't have the breakout performance that I was hoping for. I was kind of hoping she would look a little bit stronger, but she still looked good. And then afterwards, Gigi Dolan attacks her and beats her up and sends her packing pretty much. It was really weird how they worked this because they did it, she came out and attacked her, but then the screen just went black, so it was kind of odd. Then we had the actual show. We had Booker T and Vic Joseph on commentary. I already said that. We had an intro, which was cool. It just basically showed the old No Mercy video game where they did the character select and they showed off all the people that are going to be in matches tonight. It was pretty cool stuff. Kind of cool that they brought that game back, so that was cool. And the show opened with Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin. Pretty good match here. Baron Corbin had a special entrance, as you can see from the thumbnail, where he came out on a motorcycle with his theme song and everything like that. And before the match starts, Braun Breaker attacks Baron Corbin. They fight ringside. Breaker threw him over the barricade. And yeah, this was just essentially a brawl. Everybody just started smashing each other. There were several times where Baron Corbin would lay out Braun Breaker, but he would just no-sell it. Eventually, Braun Breaker hit a vicious choke slam to Corbin through the announce table. Then he put him back in the ring, and then Mr. Stone made an appearance. He went to jump on Braun Breaker, but Breaker caught him and just threw him outside the ring onto a bunch of people. And then Corbin used this distraction to hit the end of days on Breaker for the win, and Braun Breaker lost here. I didn't expect that. I thought, I figured he would win, but they gave the win to Corbin. But I still thought this was pretty good. I thought this was a good brawl. I gave it 3.25 stars. And I liked, how they continued the Von Wagner part of it, because obviously it's going to lead to him coming back. And I liked how they protected Braun Breaker and defeat pretty much. So overall, I thought this was pretty good. I give it 3.25 stars. Then we have the North American title match with Dragon Lee as a special guest referee. It was Dirty Dominic Mysterio defending against Trick Williams. Really good match here, very back and forth. Dom dominated early. He worked over the hand of Trick Williams, but eventually Trick Williams mounted a comeback. Dom inadvertently hit Dragon Lee, so he was laid out. So they had another referee come down, and he ended up getting laid out. And Trick Williams had Dominic Mysterio beaten like 3 times, and then eventually Trick Williams hits a high knee, and Dragon Lee recovers, and he pins Dominic Mysterio's shoulders down to the mat, and Trick Williams became the new NXT North American champion. I was really surprised about this. I didn't expect this, considering the fact that, Judgment Day's been dominating the main roster and stuff recently. I figured that they would just give Dom the win here, but I like the way they went about this, and I like that, Trick got his moment, and I hate to say this, but if had Mustafa Ali not gotten released, this wouldn't have even happened. So I kind of like the fact that that happened. So overall, relatively good stuff here. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a little overbooked. I thought they kind of did the pin, but Trick Williams winning really helped this match a lot. I thought it was really good stuff. The crowd went nuts for him. So, and then Joe Gacy and Ava are backstage. This is from this past week. Well, the go home episode before NXT, and basically he tells Ava to find her own path, and Joe Gacy's going to find his own path, and they just kind of leave, so it looks like Schism's completely broken up, which I'm happy about. I really wasn't a fan of that faction if you watch WWE Aftershock every week. And yeah, I don't know what this means, because Ava did send a post on X that says goodbye, so I don't know if she's leaving the company, or if, she's gonna be, I don't know what's gonna happen. Joe Gacy, I kind of hope they do something new with him, just because this gimmick really hasn't worked out for him. So I kind of hope he comes back and does something else, but we'll see. Then we had the 4-way tag title match. It was the family defending the titles against Out the Mud with Scripps ringside, the Creed brothers with Ivy Naya ringside, and Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. Really good 4-way match here. I really enjoyed it. Everybody got to get something in. They did an injury angle with Tony D'Angelo where he teased like he was gonna pick somebody up for like a fallaway slam and like swing and like a fireman's carry type move, but he completely went down. And I actually thought this was legit because he's had history of having knee injuries and stuff. But pretty much Stax had to work the match by himself. And the match was insane. The Creed brothers looked really strong out there. Garza and Carrillo looked good. Out the Mud looked whatever. They weren't ready for this spot, in my opinion. But eventually Tony D does come back, and eventually D and Stax do end up picking up the victory, and they retain the titles. They pinned one of the Out the Mud tag members. I forget which one it was. But overall, it was really good. I give it 3.5 stars. I thought they did fun 4-way stuff. I could have done without the Tony D injury angle, but overall, I thought it was really good stuff. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. So, yeah, really good stuff. And then it shows somebody watching TV again. This is a different version of it. It shows them watching all this stuff, past history of sports, movies, and wrestling and things like that. And we pretty much know who this is. We see a little inklet of blonde hair, which means that this is Brian Pillman Jr., which is going to be cool. I can't wait to see what he does in WWE, so it'll be interesting. Then Carmelo Hayes is backstage, and Trick Williams comes up, and they're really happy for each other that the Trick Williams won the title, and Carmelo Hayes says that he's ready to go win his match and retain his title. Then we had the Heritage Cup Rules match for the NXT Heritage Cup. It was Noam Dar defending against Pete Dunne. Noam Dar had Earl Mensa, Last Legend, and Jakara Jackson ringside, and Pete Dunne had Tyler Bate ringside. This match was very good, very back and forth. Seemed like they knew how to work this style really well. Yeah, the first couple of rounds, they don't really have much pinfall, but then eventually, behind the ref's back, Noam Dar ends up, or meant to take the cheap shot, and Noam Dar gets a fall in at, like, the third round. And then at the fourth round, Pete Dunne hits the bitter end and gets a fall in. So it's really back and forth now. Everyone's just trying to get a fall in. And eventually, Gallus come out. They attack Tyler Bates. And then behind the ref's back, um, Joe Coffey hits the Our Best for the Bells on Pete Dunne, and Noam Dar covers him at like the last second to retain his cup. I didn't like the finish too much. I really thought they should have just gone with Pete Dunne. You still could have done this feud with or you still could have had Pete Dunne win and just had Gallus come out and attack him afterwards. I just think Pete Dunne would have been a better Heritage Cup champion than Noam Dar is at the moment, but the match still was very good. I give it 3 3/4 stars. I thought they worked a really well match there. Then we have a ad for NXT Dateline, not Dateline, NXT Deadline, which is coming back. That's going to be December 9th, I believe, and that's going to be cool. They're going to bring back the Iron Survivor Challenge, which I liked. I liked that concept a lot, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do there. So yeah, that'll be good stuff. And yeah, it'll be good to see that come back. And then this is when we get the this is when we get the announcement that Halloween Havoc's coming back. It's going to be a 2-week edition episode of NXT. I think it's going to start on October 24th, and then the following week will be night 2. So they'll already when I cover NXT this week, they'll already have started the build up for that. So yeah, we got some exciting stuff coming for NXT. Then we had the 2 main matches of the show. It was Carmelo Hayes defending the NXT Championship against Ilya Dragunov. This match was great, just very back and forth. Dragunov dominates really a good portion of it, and yeah, it was great stuff. I don't think it was quite as good as the first match, but still great stuff nonetheless. They both just really laid into each other. Eventually, after hitting several not Torpedo Muscles, but the punch that he does on the ground, he hits it off the top rope, and Dragunov gets the win. He pins Carmelo Hayes here. He becomes the new NXT champion, and yeah, it was great. It was a really nice surprise. I'm glad they did this just because it was a good surprise, and it seems like something's gonna come out of this on NXT. But we'll find out what that is. But yeah, I'm happy Dragunov got a moment here. I think he's going to be a really good NXT champion. And I thought this was a good way to end Carmelo Hayes' title reign. It was great stuff. I give it 4.5 stars. I thought it was a great back and forth match. Then, before I get to the main event, they did announce the competitors in the breakout tournament that's going to take place this year. I'll go over that real quick. I gotta find the brackets for it. Well, I'll say the bracket when I cover that part on NXT. But the competitors are going to be Kalani Jordan, Izzy Dame, Ariana Grace, Jakara Jackson, Carmen Petrovic, Jada Polka, Danny Palmer, and Lola Vice. I'm a fan of most of these people that are in the tournament. It's about everyone that I expected. The only one that took me by surprise was Jada Polka, just because she hasn't been on TV at all. She hasn't even been on Level Up. She might have been on Level Up like once, but I wasn't surprised by these other people. Lola Vice has been on TV a lot, doing stuff with Elektra Lopez and stuff. And, I think she has a lot of potential. I could see her get into the finals. Easy Dame and Carmen Petrovic didn't surprise me just because they've been doing a lot of stuff on TV lately, on Level Up and stuff like that, so I expected they'd be in the tournament because they've had really good showings on the matches on Level Up. Danny Palmer, is someone that's regularly on TV all the time, so that was a surprise. Well, not a surprise, but that wasn't a surprise. Jakara Jackson wasn't a surprise, but kind of, because she hasn't really wrestled lately, so... And then Ariana Grace, I'm a little surprised, just because she just came back from injury, but good that she's back. And Kalani Jordan, I think, was obviously going to be in this. The thing that sucks about it is it's pretty obvious Kalani Jordan's going to win this tournament, just because She's the only one that they've really been pushing regularly on television. While the others haven't even really been on TV yet, so that's the only thing that sucks is the winner of the tournament is fairly predictable. So we'll see. But yeah, the breakout tournament looks good. I expect. Yeah, I kind of hope they don't challenge for the title right away. I know that they have a history of doing that. They kind of keep this contract for a while, just because I think Kalani Jordan could be. Well, unless Kalani Jordan wins, I think she's probably ready for the title. But I don't think she's quite ready for the title. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, overall, I think the tournament looks good. So it just sucks that like none of them are really regularly on TV except Kalani Jordan. So, but yeah, then we have the main event. It's the Extreme Rules match for the NXT Women's Championship. It was Becky Lynch defending. By the way, I didn't say it, but the NXT title match was 4.5 stars. But it was Becky Lynch defending against Tiffany Stratton. Great match here. It really surprised me. I was kind of like, oh, this is a main event. And I understood why it was main eventing because, they had Becky there. You want to have a main event. But obviously, if you've watched past episodes of WWE Aftershock, I'm not the biggest Tiffany Stratton fan. So I was kind of like, eh. But yeah, they really surprised me here. They did a special entrance for Becky where she came out and they kind of showed all the past moments that she's done in WWE, which was cool. Yeah, they had the match here, and Becky just kicks Tiffany Stratton's ass in the beginning. They brawl through the crowd. She grabs like a belt that like we find out later is her trainer, and she attacks her. They fight back towards ringside. Becky tries to go off the barricade, and Tiffany Stratton catches her by hitting her with a kendo stick. Becky brought this shopping cart full of weapons, and she used a bunch of them on Tiffany Stratton. She used a trash can, a construction worker's helmet, so that was cool. And then yeah, Becky just continues to dominate. Eventually, Tiffany Stratton gets the advantage. She destroys Becky, destroys her with a chair. She pulls out a toolbox and hits Becky with that. She hits her with a lead pipe, a crowbar, and she tries to hit her with a hammer, but that wasn't very successful. And then, yeah, they both really went to war here. Becky does a coast to coast. Tiffany Stratton does a backflip, which sends them both through the barricade. Becky does a leg drop on through a table, and eventually, Becky hits the manhandle slam and gets the victory here. She hits it onto a stack of chairs, but yeah, it was definitely a great match. I really can't do it justice. Just definitely sit down and watch it. I give it 4 3/4 stars. It was great stuff, very back and forth, and it probably was helped by Becky being in the match and it being an Extreme Rules match. They were kind of able to come out with a good match. But I got to give Tiffany Stratton credit. I thought she put her working boots on for this match. I think, I'm kind of hoping now that she could come out of this program with Becky Lynch as a better wrestler and everything like that, because the last 2 matches I've seen her have with Becky have been great. So we'll see if she can improve out of this now. This kind of, because I can't really say Becky carried this match. I thought Tiffany Stratton had her working boots on for a change, and I thought she, sometimes wrestling, like you say, it takes 2 to tango type of thing, and I thought Tiffany Stratton made something work. So yeah, overall great stuff. And then it wasn't the end of the show though. The end of the show, Becky celebrated, and then backstage, Carmelo Hayes comes up without his title, and he apologizes for Trick Williams for letting him down, and Trick Williams says that he gave it everything he had, and they kind of hug, and that's kind of how the show ends. So it kind of shows that there's something brewing between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, which I liked. I kind of like, it's good to have a good pay-per-view, but I like when they have like a hook sometimes that makes you want to watch the next episode on TV. So relatively good stuff there. So that was NXT, No Mercy. I did see a lot of people raving about this show, saying this was awesome. It was a great show. I don't think it was quite an awesome show. That's just my opinion. I feel like the last 2 matches really make this show like one of the best NXT shows, I should say, since they've rebranded and things like that. I don't think it's I don't think it's a fantastic show or anything like that, but I definitely think it's a great show. I'm gonna give it like a B plus, like a high B plus, dude, just barely off the mark of an A minus. I don't think it's quite a fantastic show, but I definitely think it's a great show here. I didn't have a lot of expectations. I had some, but I think the two matches really made it. You know, I liked the Heritage Cup match minus the finish. I liked Trick Williams getting the yeah. But yeah, I liked the Corbin Braun Breaker, and I liked Trick Williams getting the belt. So overall, I'm gonna give it a B plus. Now that we've gone through that, let's go through this week's episode of NXT. I gotta find my notes for that. Been taking a lot of notes recently. Yeah, that took place on October 3rd, 2023. We knew that going into it, because I'm not going to mention it here since, you know, since I'll be covering Raw in a different Aftershock. But we knew that Dominic Mysterio was going to have a rematch for the North American title, and pretty much he had to win pretty much, and he was going to come with backup. So, yeah, we knew the rematch was set in stone pretty much, and then Becky Lynch was unable to wrestle Tegan Nox on Raw. She couldn't defend her title because of the Extreme Rules match. She got like a torn gash in like her elbow, so she pretty much couldn't wrestle. She was on every show that she's supposed to be at, but she just couldn't really wrestle. So yeah, that kind of happened, and then. We knew Becky was going to be on the show, and we had a feeling Indy Hartwell was going to be on the show, because they did a segment on Raw where Indy Hartwell looked at a title that she never lost it, and Becky came up and pretty much told her to be on NXT. So that was kind of everything that happened, leading up to this show that we knew. So, yeah, so it kicked off. We had Becky Lynch come out to cut a promo, and yeah, she talked about retaining the championship. She says that she's looking for a new challenger. She threw all the praise to Tiffany Stratton. No Tiffany Stratton on this show, which makes sense. I feel like it makes sense to keep her off TV for a while. And then she gets interrupted by Lyra Valkyria, and she talks about how when Becky Lynch debuted, she inspired her to train to become a wrestler. And she talks about how she was a huge inspiration to everybody in Ireland. They did like a big indie show there, and Becky Lynch's name was mentioned, and everybody cheered for her. But she wants to prove herself against Becky Lynch. So, yeah, it was good stuff there. And then Indy Hartwell comes out, and she wants to get back her title that she never lost. So that's kind of what happened there. And then Roxanne Perez came out. And a big thing that happened was Roxanne Perez got booed out of the building pretty much, which is pretty surprising because they're in the PC. That's where they've made their name and stuff like that. But yeah, really surprising stuff. I wonder if they're gonna. I hope they kind of take that and kind of do something with it, type of thing. But it was really surprising because it's the first time this has happened. But she talked about how she wants to get her title back. She feels like that she's been kind of wasting away, type of thing. So Becky said that they're going to have a triple threat match, and whoever wins will face her at Halloween Havoc Night 1. That will probably be the main event. I think, they could have just had... It was really weird, like, Becky announced the match. I mean, they do say later that Shawn made the match official, but I always think it's weird when wrestlers themselves make the matches. But we got that match later on. It showed various training of everyone training backstage. And the match was great, very back and forth. It was really unpredictable about who was going to win because everyone had a case to win. Roxanne Perez could have won because that's a big match for Becky to do. Lyra Valkyria could have won just because of their history, and then Indy Hartwell could have won just because that would have been cool. But Roxanne Perez was about to win. She hit the pop rocks on Indy Hartwell, and then Kiana James pulled her out of the ring and laid her out. And Lyra Valkyria took advantage of this and hit the senton on Indy Hartwell for the win. I did like that after Kiana James did this, Becky just decked her, which was funny. But yeah, we're going to get Lyra versus Becky at Halloween Havoc, night 1. I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be a great match for the title, and I think it makes all the sense in the world to do that match. So that would be good stuff. We did get something coming out of this with Kiana James. So she announced backstage that if Roxanne Perez wants to face her, she has to face an opponent of her choosing. And I was thinking they were gonna do someone like, okay, they're gonna have somebody like, she's gonna face someone like, you know, like someone lower tier heel type of thing or something. I couldn't really think of anyone that would like be at Kiana's level right now, but that's not the case. It ends up being Asuka. It doesn't make sense. I'll admit that, but it does when you know that AEW is going to be on Tuesday next week, and they are doing Title Tuesday and everything like that. So as you see later on in the show, they're going to try to get all the big stars on NXT as much as they can. But Asuka versus, Roxanne Perez will be awesome. I think that's going to be like a really good showcase for Roxanne Perez. I think that's probably the most person she's going to face that has the most experience in a wrestling ring, probably. So that's going to be awesome. Looking forward to that. So that'll be great stuff. And then we had Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. This was earlier in the show versus Gallus. Very great match right here. Very exciting. Very back and forth. Eventually, Dunne and Bate win with a double Tyler Driver 97, which was cool. And they win, after which Joe Coffey attacks them, and Gallus beats him down 3-on-1. And then Ridge Holland runs out and makes the save. And basically, the Brawlin' Strong style, or the Brawlin' Strong Brutes, whatever you want to call them, send them packing. So we're probably going to get some type of trios match out of this, 6-man tag, which I'm excited about. Yeah, this is great. I love this. I love, that they're still keeping the Brawlin' Boots on TV. Sheamus is injured at the moment, so he can't really be on TV right now. So I like that they're keeping the Brawlin' Boots on, doing something. So overall, I liked this a lot. I thought this was great. Then Ilya Dragunov came out to cut a promo. He talked about winning the NXT Championship and what that meant to him. And then he talked about how he wants to face all these challengers. And then Trick Williams come out, and he's just really over. Like, I've been watching Impact lately, and people on Impact are chanting, "Whoop that Trick." So it's not just a WWE, like, PC type thing. It's really catch it on type of thing. Yeah, Trick Williams, he comes out and he talks about how they both won titles. He thanks Ilya Dragunov for putting out the best in him. And Ilya Dragunov gives him props. And then Carmelo Hayes comes out. I like that he was selling the fact that he could barely walk from the match at No Mercy. And he wants to know what's going on just because Dragunov, is someone that's laid him out a bunch of times and things like that. And he says that he should be focused on congratulating people. He should be focusing on Dominic Mysterio, because he tells Trick Williams that defending a title is different than winning a championship. And they do kind of this thing where it looks like that Trick Williams is thinking that Carmelo Hayes, can't retain the title against him and all that type of stuff. And then eventually Dominic Mysterio comes out and he talks about how Trick Williams pretty much beat him by a fluke and everything like that. And Carmelo Hayes said that he's going to be in Trick Williams' corner. And then Dominic Mysterio plays mind games and pretty much says that, are you really going to let be the sidekick forever of Carmelo Hayes? So this kind of causes Trick Williams to want to have, want to basically be out there by himself. And that was pretty much the end of the segment, though. And this led to a big storyline that took place throughout this show, where Braun Breaker came up to Carmelo Hayes later in the night, and he was pretty much insinuated that he should, he knows how he's feeling because he lost the title, and he said that he's feeling anger, and he should take this anger on every member of the roster, especially Trick Williams. But Carmelo Hayes doesn't want to do that, and Braun Breaker tells him to think about it, and this leads to later on in the night, you see Carmelo Hayes and he talks about how he took advice, and he talked about how from uh, the greatest of all time, John Cena, and he mentions that John Cena told him that when you get knocked down, it's all about how you get up and how you come back from it and everything like that. And then he says that because we found out at this point that it was going to be Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker on the next episode of NXT. He says that next week John Cena is going to be in his corner, which was insane. That John Cena is going to be in Braun Breaker's corner, and there's a callback. There's a response to that because then you see Paul Heyman, and we find out that on the orders of the Tribal Chief, pretty much, that Paul Heyman is going to be in Braun Breaker's corner. So they're really throwing a lot at NXT next week. They want to make sure that they can beat Dynamite in the ratings. They were probably gonna anyways, I'll just say that, just because NXT actually did beat Dynamite this week in the ratings, which is really surprising, because it was Adam Copeland's first Dynamite and everything like that, and it lost to NXT. Pretty much, it was really a shock. I'll get to why that was the case when I do Spoke next week, though, because I'm probably going to end up doing Spoke next week. But, yeah, that's going to be exciting. I'm going to be stunned if NXT does lose to Dynamite next week. I'll just say that, with all that they're throwing at NXT. Because then we find out later in the night, I'll just say this since I'm on the topic, that Cody Rhodes is going to make an announcement on NXT next week. Considering the fact, it's kind of funny that Cody Rhodes is being used to boost the ratings up for Dynamite when he was on the competition at one point, and now he's like fighting against the competition directly. I think this is the first time that's happened since he's come back to WWE, so it's insane what they're throwing at NXT next week. I'm actually really looking forward to NXT next week. I actually was going to sit down and watch Dynamite first next week, but then with everything that NXT's thrown at it, how can I not watch Dynamite first? I mean, Dynamite's looking like a pretty loaded show. We'll talk about that. I'll talk about that on Spoke, but it's just absolutely insane. But then it cuts to the main event, though. We have Trick Williams defending his title against Dominic Mysterio, and Trick Williams is just really over here. Everybody's really behind him, and it's really awesome. And eventually Judgment Day come out, though, and Trick Williams does the best he can to fight them off, but eventually, behind the West back, Finn blasts Trick with one of the tag titles, and Dom hits the frog splash on him for the win. He becomes a 2-time NXT North American champion. And was this the right decision here? I don't know how I feel about this, because obviously, at least it's not something to completely job him out. At least it's done to do something to create a bigger story, because it looks like they're doing something with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. But yeah, kind of an interesting thing to happen. It was really interesting, I'll just say that. But I can't say I hated it, just because Trick got to have a moment, and he got to have, he's still going to be over coming out of it, I think. But it continues the furtherization of a feud with Judgment Day and all that type of stuff, because and it continues the whole thing where Dom really can't do it on his own. So I don't know how I feel about that they just took the title off Trick Williams so fast, but we'll talk about that in the future. Well, because I definitely think they have a plan here, so I can't really say. But overall, I thought the match was great. Not really sure yet how I feel about them taking the title off of Trick Williams so fast. So, other things that happened on NXT. Ilya Dragunov looked like he has his first challenger, by the way. Baron Corbin confronted him backstage, and he did mention that that the last loss Ilya Dragunov had before the NXT title match was against him, and they are setting up some type of title program there. So I think Dragunov versus Corbin will make a lot of sense to do for the title match, so that will make a lot of sense. I don't mind that. And again, they announced the competitors. We found out the brackets for the NXT Breakout Tournament. It's going to be Kalani Jordan versus Izzy Dame, which happened on this show. Ariana Grace versus Jakara Jackson. Carmen Petrovic versus Jada Carter, and Danny Palmer versus Lola Vice. All these matches look relatively good. I don't know how good some of them are going to be just because some of them I have seen. I think Danny Palmer versus Lola Vice will surprise us. I think that's going to be a really good match because Lola Vice had a really good showing against Roxanne Perez a few weeks ago. Carmen Petrovic versus Jada Parker will be interesting. I'll say that. I don't know. I've seen Carmen Petrovic wrestle, and she's relatively good, and I haven't really seen Jada Parker yet, so we'll get to that. And I don't know how good the Ariana Grace, Jakara Jackson match is going to be, just because, one, they're both heels, and Jakara Jackson, I don't think we've seen her have a one-on-one match yet, so it'll be interesting. And Izzy Dane versus Kalani Jordan, I had a lot of hopes for, just because, they both had relatively good showings in the matches and stuff, so that was the match we got on the show. It was really strange. The crowd really didn't know how to make of it. It was they should have done a video package for Izzy Dame at least, because you just kind of threw somebody out there that a lot of people really didn't know. And Kalani Jordan did win. The match was relatively fine, I guess. It was okay. It was really kind of tough because it was pretty obvious Kalani Jordan was going to win, and I don't think this was Izzy Dame's best showing, but we'll see how that happens. But yeah, Kalani Jordan advances. She's going to face the winner of Ariana Grace and Jakara Jackson, which I imagine Jakara Jackson will win that. I guess I'll do like a quick bracketology. If I had to make a prediction for the brackets, I think Jakara Jackson will beat Ariana Grace, and then on the other side, I think Carmen Petrovic will beat Jada Parker, and Lola Vice will beat Danny Palmer. Then I think in the semifinals, it will be Kalani Jordan beating Jakara Jackson, and then Lola Vice beating Carmen Petrovic, and then Kalani Jordan will just win the whole thing. I think that's pretty. It'd be pretty weird if she didn't win. As predictable as it is, it really wouldn't make sense if she doesn't win this tournament, because this is like they've been wanting to push Kalani Jordan for a while. They've been really showcasing her lately, and it would not make sense for her not to win this tournament, type of thing. So I don't think they have any plans right now for Lola Vice. That's like the only other person I could really see winning this tournament, but they haven't done a lot with her. So there was that. Especially too because Dana Brooke just got released recently. I think if Dana Brooke was still in the company, there wouldn't be much of a chance. But and yeah, the only other things that happen on NXT is Andre Chase and Duke Hudson have a backstage segment. They want to accompany Thea Hale and what's her name, JC Jane ringside for their match, and Fallon Henley doesn't want to, but JC Jane approves, so this makes Fallon Henley approve. We get that match. It's Fallon Henley and Jason Jane versus Lola Vice and Electra Lopez, and Chase U inside. Not really that good of a match. It really wasn't very special. I think just because I don't really care what's going on with this Fallon Henley stuff, so that doesn't really help. But eventually, Fallon Henley makes Electra Lopez tap out to the Kimura. But I think, too, it didn't really further anything either. It just kind of felt like this match was there for filler. So it was just kind of there, so whatever. And then the only other thing that really happens on NXT is we got another vignette with Brian Pillman Jr. So, yeah, that happened. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in NXT. So, yeah, overall, that was NXT. Yeah, pretty good show there. I really liked it, actually. I'm going to give it like a A-. I thought it was fantastic. I really liked the main event. I like what they did with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams on this show. I liked all the announcements that came out of this show. And it was a very good women's representation, if you like that. The low light of the show really was the stuff that's going on with Chase U right now. But, yeah, we're definitely in for a treat next week. So, looking forward to that. On next week's episode of NXT, we're going to have I'm trying to remember. Oh, I did miss one thing. The Gigi Dolan, Blair Davenport had a match. They had a good match, but I didn't like the finish. Like where Blair Davenport tried to use a chair and Gigi Dolan used it to wall her up. It was pretty weak. So maybe it's going down to a B+ now after that. So yeah, I think I had it in my notes and then I didn't really talk about it. But yeah, so anyhow, relatively great episode of NXT. But yeah, breaking down next week, we're gonna have Asuka versus Roxanne Perez. I think that match will be great, and I think Asuka's gonna win. I just don't see why they would give the win to Roxanne Perez. That would just be really wouldn't make sense. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And then Cody Rhodes gonna be there to make an announcement. I don't know what his announcement's gonna be. If I had to make a prediction what I would like his announcement to be, I would kind of hope it would be the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, just because we haven't seen that in a while. And if he's going to be in NXT, I feel like that would make more sense. They haven't done the Dusty Tag since last year, I guess. It just feels like it's been so long since they haven't done it. But I guess they did do it last year. But I don't know. It just feels like it's been a while since they've done it. I don't know why. And then yeah, we're going to have Carmelo Hayes with John Cena in his corner versus Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman in his corner. Carmelo Hayes will probably win that. They could give the win to Braun Breaker via Paul Heyman interference, but I think they'll give the win to Carmelo Hayes. But I imagine Cena will be all over the show next week just because it's his first episode of NXT. I could see Heyman being all over the show next week. So, yeah, we're going to have like a big episode of NXT next week, which I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video. Probably the shortest episode of WWE Aftershock I think that's ever happened. Not a lot to complain about, I guess. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Check out future content on the channel. Check out this week's WWE Aftershock that I'll be doing solo. I'll either record that tonight after SmackDown, and it'll be up tomorrow, or I'll record it tomorrow morning, but we'll see. I'll be covering Fastlane Go Home Week and my predictions for Fastlane, and then recorded Sunday, we're going to be doing the Wrestling Rundown, and then that will probably be up sometime this week, and then definitely next week, we're going to do the retro for WCW Bash at the Beach 2000. If it doesn't happen next week, we're just going to call it off just because we've been having that on the for a while, but then either I've just been too busy or, other stuff's been going on. I've had to do, like, Spalk 1 week type of thing, so we'll see what happens. And then at some point next week, you'll see AW Spalk. You're probably going to see it late. You're probably going to see it the Wednesday after Tattoo Tuesday, but I only have Tuesday to record it, so that's pretty much it, guys. Since it's being recorded in the past, I will talk to you guys in the future.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as WWE content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.